Another day, another Manchester United drama. This club cannot stay out of the headlines. This time, it's a player clash before the club's Europa League quarter-final first leg with Lyon tonight. Nemanja Matic versus Andre Onana. Speaking after that boring 0-0 Manchester derby on Sunday, goalkeeper Onana looked ahead to the Lyon game, stating that Lyon are a very good team. We know some of them, but I don't think we have to focus on them. It's more about us, what we're going to do. Of course, it's not going to be easy, but I think we are way better than them. We all know the importance of this game. We will go there with the winning mentality. It's not our best season, but we still have something to win, and we will go for it. A nice bit of positivity from the player. However, it's safe to say this did not land well with former Man United player and current Lyon midfielder Nemanja Matic. He was not happy and took Onana's comment as a disrespect.
You know, to say that you need to have cover for something like that. Onana. You know, I respect everyone, but to say that, then you need to get the answer. If you are one of the worst goalkeepers in Man United history, you need to take care what you are talking. You know, if David De Gea or Peter Schmeichel or Van der Sar say that, then I will question myself. But if you are one of the statistically the worst goalkeepers in Man United modern history, then you know he needs to show that before he says. So we will see.
And the row has continued, with Onana reacting on X, claiming he was not trying to be disrespectful. The player used an image of himself with the FA Cup United won in 2014, stating, "At least I've lifted trophies with the greatest club in the world. Some can't say the same." Now, for the record, Matic did win the FA Cup in 2010 with Chelsea, the EFL Cup and 2 Premier League titles. But whilst playing for the Red Devils from 2017 until 2022, lifted 0 silverware. After Matic's jaw-dropping press conference and Onana's response, Man United coach and former teammate of Matic at Benfica, Ruben Amorim, has even got involved as he tried to cool down the attention on the feud.
Tomorrow will not matter. I think if you see the full quote of Andre Onana, is quite different. The first sentence is Lyon is a very, very good team. So I think sometimes the players don't listen, or the coaches don't listen the full quote, and sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. And I know Matic also. He's a great guy. So tomorrow is going to be a normal game.
So was Onana just trying to be positive about his side? Is this a bit of an overreaction from Matic? Is Onana the worst goalkeeper ever for United? When he arrived at the club for a rumoured £43.8 million from Inter Milan in the summer of 2023, he was viewed as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But how does he really compare to the goalkeepers before him? Well, according to the stats, it's not looking good. Could Matic have a point? Let's start with some positives. In this current season in the league, he is the 4th highest when it comes to clean sheets with 9, despite United being in the bottom half of the table. Onana has also ranked 2nd on Opta's goal prevented metric, meaning that he has actually conceded 7.5 goals fewer than expected from the quality of shots faced, only behind Jordan Pickford on 8.7. Looking at Man United goalkeeper since the 2003-2004 season with 900 plus Premier League minutes, he tops the charts for the amount of saves made per game. He makes 3.4 saves per 90 minutes, David De Gea made 2.8 saves and Edwin van der Sar 2.5. However, it's safe to say that he has arguably a poorer defence in front of him than those other goalkeepers did. Now, some of the negatives. Onana has made some pretty high-profile errors, last season's awful Champions League group stage exit being one example that comes to mind. And in the Premier League since the 2023-24 season, only 3 goalkeepers have made more errors leading to goals than Onana, who has 4. Ipswich's Aaron Muric with 7, and Chelsea and Brighton's Robert Sanchez and Bart Verbruggen both with 6. Onana does not rank well for save percentage either, looking specifically at Man United keepers. Andres Lindegaard is the only keeper with a lower save percentage with 67.2%. David De Gea, Van der Sar, Tim Howard, Dean Henderson, Ben Foster, Roy Carroll and Thomas Kuszczak all rank higher than Onana, who is currently on 70.1. But of course, some of those names played much less minutes for the Red Devils, so we'll take that with a pinch of salt. However, In the Premier League, Onana has the lowest number of minutes per goal conceded of all Manchester United goalkeepers, with 10 plus Premier League appearances, conceding every 63 minutes on average. Lindegaard was next on the list, conceding every 81 minutes, De Gea every 84 minutes, Peter Schmeichel every 106 minutes, Van der Sar every 117 minutes. On top of the list was Carroll, who conceded every 152 minutes. Only Raymond van der Houw ranks lower than Onana for clean sheet percentage in the Premier League for United. Foster has the highest percentage at 50%, but from just 12 appearances. Van der Sar, Schmeichel and De Gea, the only three goalkeepers with over 100 Premier League appearances, had clean sheet percentages of 48.4%, 44.4% and 35.4% respectively. So where does all of those numbers leave us? Joining me to chat more about this is Stretford Paddock's Joe Smith. First up, Joe, when you read the full quote from Onana, he does say that Lyon are a good side. Was he just trying to be positive going into arguably the club's most important game of the season? Is Matic being a little bit dramatic here?
I think it's massively dramatic. I think the whole thing has been massively blown out of proportion. I think it was like almost like your textbook classic quote from Onana, where he says, "We, of course, you know, you have to pay attention to the opposition. No game is easy. It's going to be a difficult match, but I think we're better than them." And then he sort of like looped back around, and then that's where he added the way better than them. But even then, he was saying they're a very good side. We can't take it for granted, but I think we're way better than that. And you know what? What is the problem with that? And then Matic has just lost his head, which I think the whole thing has been blown massively out of proportion. If you read the whole thing, it feels like textbook media trained footballer response. We can't take any game for granted, but if we play to our best, we'll win. That's what he was trying to say. And this whole thing around it, for me, is absolutely ridiculous.
I agree. Matic went in. It was a lot. Now, you've been a Manchester United fan all your life, so I have to ask, where do you sit on this debate about Onana? Is he the worst goalkeeper?
I think it was way too harsh, first of all, but I suppose he speaks the way he used to play, which is with 2 feet. He proper went in for him, didn't he? This whole thing of one of United's statistically as well, he wasn't leaving it to interpretation. He was bringing the data, although he never quoted what data that was, but he was saying statistically, one of United's worst ever goalkeepers. I mean, he's not. I know he's made mistakes and he's not been great, and we can talk about whether Onana's a success at United or not. Probably not so far, but he's been all right. He's been up and down. I just think it's this whole thing of then like you have to pick like who won or whose side are you on. I don't want to pick a side. I don't want to be on either Matic or Onana. I just want the whole thing to go away. I just think it's nice and it might add a little element of sort of excitement and aggression to the game. And obviously Onana cannot put one of his stinkers in now. If he lets the ball through his arms or palms it back out to one of their strikers, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. But I just think Matic, it's like he read, and I think Amarim mentioned this. He said about it's like he hasn't read the full quote, or sometimes you need to see the full quote. It feels like someone said to Matic, you know, Onana said that they're way better than you. And he's like, right, well, we'll see about that. But like I said, if you read the whole thing, it's just absolute generic nonsense from Onana. And I don't mean to disrespect him either, but it's not even particularly noteworthy. And Matic has just seen red. But yeah, I think I'm not surprised that Matic has responded like that because he can't. Obviously, he's kind of the link between the two. You know, when you go out and two of your friendship groups are both out, and you have to make sure that they don't fall out with each other. That's Matic. He's like got one foot in the United camp because he used to play for us. And obviously a big foot in the Lyon camp because he plays for them. He probably sees it as his role to make sure that everyone gets along here. And he's seen Onana kicking off and he thought, I need to nip this in the bud because these are both my friendship groups and I can't have them falling out. But I'm surprised he went as harsh as he did.
Okay, so if not Onana, we don't have to go in two-footed like Matic, but who do you think is the worst goalkeeper?
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because we've obviously had people like Taibbi who just had a relatively short United career that was largely sort of horrific. Then you've got, but Onana is an expensive first choice goalkeeper. So I think you have to compare him to other first choice keepers. I think Tim Howard was United's first choice for a couple of years, and I don't think he was particularly good. Maybe not quite as clanger prone as Onana, but goalies are a different thing these days. They're not, stand in your goal and touch the ball 8 times a game when you make a save. goalies are expected to have 25 to 45 passes per game. So the likelihood of mistakes has gone through the roof. Even some of the top goalkeepers in the world. You look at someone like Edison, who's won everything with City. There's no shortage of clangers from him, giving the ball away, terrible at saving long shots, but he's still considered a top keeper, or maybe not anymore, but has been, because what keepers aren't the same as they used to be. So I think he's a better all-round goalkeeper than Tim Howard. I think, we've had other goalkeepers. Roy Carroll came in and was sort of up and down. You've had Ben Foster doing a little bit here and there, could never make his mark. Obviously, he's not as good as De Gea, and he's not as good as Van der Sar, which I think Matic compared him to both of them, or Peter Schmeichel as well. We've been lucky. United have been one of the best teams in the world for most of the last 40 years. And in that time, we've had good keepers. So there isn't a load of bad people to compare him to, because we've been quite good. If we played for, Gillingham, it might be easy to compare him. You compare him to world-class goalkeepers here. So, it's a relatively high bar. But I just think that this whole thing of is he absolutely terrible or not? Well, he's been poor, Andre Onana, mostly. But I don't think he's a terrible keeper. And I'm, still hold hope that he can pull through. But I think he's better than Tim Howard, for instance, yeah.
Onana's not been amazing. He has had some howlers. What do you think the future holds for Onana, or what do you hope it holds?
I hope he can play how he has done for the last sort of 2 months. That spell when United just lost every week from when was it? It's early December till early January, wasn't it? Where I don't think we won a game and we lost 5 games. It was horrific, and he was horrific in that period. That spell there was awful. But I think outside of that, this season, he's been all right. And the last few weeks in particular, I think he's been fine. I wouldn't put any losses or draws or even particularly many goals at his feet, and he's done some good things on the ball. I just think carry on as you're doing now. The problem with him is he has these spells, and remember last season when he basically decided single-handedly Man United are not getting out of the Champions League group. I will make sure, no matter how close we get to beating FC Copenhagen or Bayern Munich or whoever it may be, we ain't getting out of this group. And he took it on himself. And in fairness to him, he succeeded in his mission because he was awful in the Champions League. But outside of that, again, it's hard because what do you mean outside of that? He's ruined one of our main competitions. I can't look too much outside. He's not been great, but just keep doing what he's doing now. And again, no one in this team has the benefit of playing in an otherwise stable team. Every position looks terrible because everyone is struggling, except Bruno Fernandes. United have been really, really bad this season. And you could look at any individual person at all in the squad and say, you've not really been good enough, other than maybe Mazraoui and De Ligt, and obviously Bruno. You could look at anyone else and go, you've not been at it this season. So I think he's in a really volatile time at Man United. But I hope he can stick to what he's doing, and he's probably going to get another season at least, because we need to improve in so many other areas. So I think in his head he should think, right, I've probably got at least another 18 months at Man United. Let's make it count. Because if he can be good for that 18 months and look as though he's a competent piece of a more competent team, he'll definitely get to keep playing for us, because he's on the ball stuff's very good. It's just whether he keeps having these 6-week spells where he can't stop letting the ball in the back of the net. And if he can't, then obviously at some point we're going to have to get rid of him.
And finally, what is your message to Onana ahead of tonight's game?
My message to Onana, which I'm sure he'll see, obviously, because he looks at everything I do, is you can't get this wrong now. You cannot mess this up now, mate. After this, you've got to get this right. Just do the basics. Don't think about long chipping passes. Don't think about trying to thread the eye of a needle through 2 strikers into Casemiro's feet. Play it safe. Do the right things. And if you get a chance to obviously put a decent save in, do it. And if Matic hits one from 25 yards out, you had better keep your eyes on it, because it is going to be a nightmare if that happens and that ends up going in the back of the net. But yeah, stay quiet. That's all I'd say to Onana. At the end of the game, I want to hear no one say the words Andre Onana, because if he did, then that means that he's had a decent game. So yeah, stay out of the limelight would be my message to him.
Thank you so much to Joe from Stretford Paddock there. It's safe to say that Matic's statement was pretty explosive, and you can argue that it's perhaps unfair to make comparisons. Schmeichel and Van der Sar easily go down as legends due to lifting Premier League and Champions League titles, with De Gea being in the net for the club's last Premier League win under Sir Alex Ferguson in 2013. During some of United's dark days post-Fergie, many feel that without the Spaniard, the club's fall from grace would have been even worse than it was. To say Onana is the worst goalkeeper in modern times is harsh. I mean, let's not forget Massimo Taibi's 4-game spell in 1999 when he conceded 12 goals. Now, has Onana lived up to his transfer fee or reportedly being the 4th highest paid for a goalkeeper? No. Is his future in jeopardy? Most likely. But one thing's for sure, I cannot wait to see that pre-match handshake between Onana and Matic. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on the feud and who was in the wrong. Thanks for joining me, and make sure that you subscribe to all the latest football news here on talkSPORT.